Hey guys, it's Saranu. So this is the infamous circumcision video that has been teased for a few days. What I'm going to be doing so this actually works, I actually tried filming the first part before, but it crashed, but I think I know why, so hopefully this time it doesn't. I'm going to be splitting this up into three or four videos. So each one's about 10 to 15 minutes and get it done. So make sure to watch each of them because they're going to be discussing a different aspect of circumcision and my opinions and facts. So so this is gonna be the first part about the history, and all my sources will be linked in each bio. So thanks for being patient. I'm sorry, this is just a shitty situation. I think there's forces beyond just the crashes that are making this happen, but that's just, I'm not trying to be conspiratorial. Like, I actually think that. So regardless, we're just gonna get into it so I can keep it in the right amount of time. Don't deal with shenanigans. Anyway, so circumcision is something that causes a lot of controversy when I bring it up. And it seems that most of the controversy comes from people who have cut their own kids. When I discuss the issue with people my age, it seems my generation is unanimously against circumcision. And a large contingent of men in America are circumcised. So I was curious how the perception has changed from their parents' generation. I did a really big deep dive and read a lot, and Jewish practices from ancient times will be discussed, but nothing is intended to be defamatory. It's facts. So first, let's get into the history of circumcision. How did it start? No one really knows for sure because the practice has been existed longer than recorded history. One theory is that it was a religious practice because the foreskin is highly erogenous, so it was mutilated to deter men from masturbating as a sacrifice for inherent sin. The origin that the Jews have is that Abraham was told by God that him and his descendants would be given land and fortune if they were circumcised. So because of this, Jews have continued the tradition. Little food for thought to keep in mind, 98% of American Jews with a penis are circumcised. Only 26% of American Jews say that religion is an important part of their lives according to a Pew study. Keep that in mind. Anyway, the method of circumcision that Abraham used on his children and himself was different than what we use now. Only the bit of foreskin that extended beyond the penis was removed and not the whole foreskin. So this is an adult version, here's the penis. There's a little bit of skin going over, that was cut off, not all the foreskin. So we're going to fast forward to the Hellenic period. The Romans placed high value on the foreskin. So when they realized what the Jews were doing, they passed laws against it and made circumcision illegal. Now this wasn't necessarily a religious attack because it was enforced on all citizens, and it wasn't even enforced. It was just put into law, but the empire was so big at that time, the government was kind of inept when it came to those kind of things. So there's not really any proof that Jews were discriminated against or prevented from performing circumcisions. And again, the Greeks before that and the Romans valued the foreskin. Now, around 140 AD, the Jews modified their traditional procedure. In order to make sure a flaccid Jew could not be mistaken for a Greek or a Roman, rabbis and priests introduced a new method called pariah. This stripped away the entire foreskin, and this is what we now know as a typical circumcision. And it was obviously way more dangerous than the original procedure, and many boys got sick or died because of it, which still happens to this day. So at this point, there were a lot of Jews who felt insecure about their circumcised penis because it was so different than a regular penis. And it was considered ugly. Now, this is important because now uncircumcised penises are considered ugly. Things change, okay? There's different societal norms, so to use that as an argument is silly. There were ancient tugger methods that involved wearing a bronze weight on the residual foreskin stretched out, so frustration about being circumcised against your will isn't new. Now, the third stage of ritualistic circumcision came during the Talmudic period during around 500 AD. This was the birth of a very disgusting practice where the rabbi or whoever performs the circumcision would suck the blood from the newborn circumcised penis. The religious aspect is completely irrelevant. This is pedophilic and just disgusting, and not only is the moral issue, many babies died from infection because of this. And I was just baffled that this could even be practiced today. And actually someone made the argument that it was anti-Semitic and an infringement of religious freedom to be against this ritual. That just made me laugh. But I'm going to go on a little tangent here. So I learned that in September of 2012, New York decided that the mitzvah should require informed consent from both parents, meaning that they know that they can get herpes, they can get this, they can get that. And this was actually, this law was signed, but a rabbi from an organization in New York signed a declaration saying that they would not inform the parents of the dangers even if informed consent became law. And this law was repealed quickly after, so whatever. Now, there was backlash against circumcision within the past 2,000 years from not only Christians but also Jews. In the 1st century AD, St. Paul warned parents not to circumcise their children. In the 19th century, the Reform movement within Judaism decided that circumcision was a cruel practice, and even Theodor Herzl, who was the founder of Zionism, didn't circumcise his own son. So now we're going to fast forward in time again to the American Victorian era. And in 1870, an orthopedic surgeon in New York examined a paralyzed 5-year-old boy. The nanny acknowledged that the boy's genitals were sore, and then the doctor performed a circumcision, and the boy's ailments were cured. He could walk again. Now the doctor put 2 and 2 together and went on the praise circumcision, and then everyone started following suit. The claim was that phimosis caused anxiety, and this resonated with the mindset a lot of people had, which was that mental illnesses originated from sex and masturbation, which is kind of a prelude to Freud. Now, people were certain that masturbation could cause epilepsy and infertility. In the mid-1800s, a Puritan named Sylvester Grant actually declared that any pleasure was immortality. Cue Sinners at the Hands of an Angry God by Jonathan Edwards. And to these people, masturbation caused psychiatric problems, and treatments did not only include circumcision, but also clitorectomies, which is female genital mutilation, is what it's known as today. So as circumcision became rampant in America, people thought that they could cure their ailments and prevent masturbation in their children. It didn't work. So then the argument switched that it is cleaner. Smegma became known as infectious material. They did studies about the Hebrew penis, saying it had superior cleanliness and protective benefits. They also noted that Jewish people tend to have low rates of STDs, cancer, and mental illness. They also said this is due to circumcision, not that they have a generally higher IQ, other things, but alas, by the turn of the 20th century, the fears of masturbation were basically gone, and now it was considered civilized to perform a circumcision on a child. And by 1940, 70% of American babies were circumcised. This is going to be the end of this section. The next one's going to be about medical justifications of circumcision. So see you in the next one. Bye.